I knew that dog was fucked the moment I saw that cup. I'm Moses.
Have you encountered MAGA men that you've slept with?
I thought to myself, and this is going to be really disturbing to hear, but I thought, his face looks like he's beating off. So are we supposed to start the podcast? So you have something that is labeled as, we're going to keep kids safe, but really it's a gift to the tech oligarchs to create a digital profile of your child that will make them inherently more addicted to all of the things they shouldn't be addicted to. And then you have AIPAC, which now is no longer donating under that moniker. Hakeem Jeffries is receiving money through other names and then disseminating it. You have, like just the Republicans in general. We're the pro-family party. Shut the fuck up. Y'all are so anti-family. You're a party full of deadbeat dads with all these baby mamas and all this shit going on. Elon Musk, God knows how many petri dish babies he has.
By the way,
around.
Elon Musk, endorser of the Kids Online Safety Act.
That's all you need to know.
Like, do you think Elon Musk cares about protecting children? This man endorsed and informed the language of the Kids Online Safety Act.
That's all you need to know. All right. I've had it with my husband misgendering my French bulldogs. So for years, he misgendered my cat, right. Kitski, the late Kitski. She died, as everybody knows, after a lifelong battle with asthma and diabetes. And she lived to 18. So Kitski is a girl. Josh, for the entirety of her life, referred to Kitski as he, him pronouns. And so my husband and I just went on vacation together, and we took our dogs because our children are in college. And honestly, dogs are fantastic to travel with. And he kept calling Cha-Cha, who is female, him and he, him pronouns. And I'm just like, she's 5. We've had her for 5 years. She is a girl. Like, you need to use the correct pronouns with our dog. Moses Mike Grinder Johnson is a sycophant of Donald Trump at the State of the Union address when Trump was speaking, and you could see him sitting behind. He had such a delight on his face. I thought to myself, and this is going to be really disturbing to hear, but I thought, his face looks like he's beating off. That's how excited he looked. But the lesson in all of this is, when you leave one group vulnerable, you leave everybody vulnerable. And those white people that think they're safe in MAGA, particularly white Christian men, my favorite is you, because they tried to kill Mike Pence. They tried to kill Mike fucking Pence, who had a pet rabbit and calls his wife mother. And so the biggest lesson for white people that we have to atone for is not listening to our Black brothers and sisters in this country and all the racism that is allowed, the silent racism that always goes unchecked. That's the part that's the grossest to me. The people who allow racists in their life to act with him. Yeah. God woke me up in the middle of the night and said, "Wake up, little guy. You're going to be Moses." Me? I'm Moses? He goes into this long thing, this conversation that he has. That's not normal. This is a crazy person. He is an insane person. And so many religious people in the South use their faith as a cover for either how crazy they are or how morally depraved they are, or in Moses Mike Grinder Johnson's case, how gay they are. And he uses his faith as a cover.
Because Big Dick Bottoms' dick is so much bigger than yours, because this is a collection of men in this cabinet that are deficient and overcompensating at a level that I have never seen in a certain group of people. Like, all of these people that are in his administration and huge nonstop supporters, these are people that have little dick energy. And I think Big Dick Bottom is the perfect person to open up this conversation that we're having. And let's just get to the bottom of it.
In fact, I would say there is a brown Jesus and then there is a white Jesus. And the white Jesus that these people have made is a bully, billionaire, doesn't give a shit about life, and is all for women killing their dogs and fucking their boyfriends in the back of a PJ. And then you have the brown Jesus, the one in the Bible that preached about social justice and was a radical empath that wanted to see people that were suffering. This guy wasn't a capitalist. This guy wasn't a nosy person up in everybody's business, what you're doing, what you believe, if you're going to heaven, if you're going to hell. That was not his purpose. It was to help people where they are suffering and to lift up the most marginalized, which is the exact opposite of what American evangelicals do. But I genuinely believe Netanyahu has all the stuff on Trump. I think Netanyahu has Lindsey Graham doing a bunch of gay shit, because why the fuck does Lindsey Graham care so much about Iran when he's from South Carolina? How does his position on Iran help the people of South Carolina get medical care, get higher wages, have better roads, have better hospitals? It's insanity. It is insane that these senators from these states where there is so much working class suffering, their number one agenda is whatever Benjamin Netanyahu wants and what AIPAC wants. It is insane.
Have you encountered MAGA men that you've slept with, and how would you think that? And we went back over a 10-year period, and the worst lays ended up being MAGA. And so I think they're not as smart, and they're also terrible lays, which leads me to my point. A lot of this is controlled by men that have insecurities and little penises. There were a lot of 2-inch slims in there too, just FYI.
I knew that dog was fucked. The moment I saw that cup and a dog on a leash, I fucking knew it. I knew it.
Also, if I'm in an airport and something's wrong and my dog can't come with me, I can't go on the trip. That's it.
Question. Think about this. She took her cup and left her dog. She took the cup and left the dogs. And everybody thinks I'm a raving lunatic calling out the Stanley Cuppers and the performative hydrators. But think about that. She had a choice. Leave the cup, leave the dog. She left the dog. She took the cup. So are we supposed to start the podcast? So let me ask you this. As a person who gets death threats a lot online, I do, because Fox News will be like, this crazy white liberal woman, they're terrible. And so then I just get threats of sexual violence and death threats, so much so that I had to turn off my DMs. I had to untag all of my friends and family members because they get it. It's really dangerous. And when I see these nameless, faceless accounts that do that, and I of course report them, and then of course they would just delete that account and then do it again. The anonymity as it pertains to me and my safety, that anybody can just create an account and then death threat and sexually harass and threats of sexual violence, it seems to me like maybe we shouldn't have anonymity on the internet. So explain to me why I'm right or wrong in that.
So we actually have a ton of really good data and studies showing that removing anonymity doesn't make people nicer. Believe it or not. You would think that these people wouldn't say this stuff with their government names. I invite anybody who believes that to spend a little time in the Facebook comment section. People will say the most vile stuff with full on profile pictures of them holding their kids.
So you're right.
It's actually, these bad actors are bad actors. Now listen, if they're threatening you, if they're doing things that are legally actionable, you should be empowered to take legal action. And I'm all for making it, empowering people to be able to do that. Because the reality is that these people are not protected by, just because they might not violate like Meta's guidelines doesn't mean that they're not doing something legally wrong in a court, that you could prove in court. So I do that. I mean, I've dealt with a stalker. I deal with all this stuff too. But we need to look at the bigger picture here, and we need to think a little bit outside of like what is common sense, because that's what they're preying on, right? They're preying on us just being like, well, that sounds good, right?
Right.
And that's always kind of the most insidious thing. A lot of people require anonymity on the internet. Journalists require it to do our jobs, activists, dissidents. And right now, there's a great New York Times story that just came out earlier this week, horrifying, that the Trump's Department of Homeland Security is currently seeking to unmask hundreds of accounts across America that have criticized ICE. Anybody that is starting an anonymous account and criticizing ICE is what they're seeking to unmask. And so these identity age verification efforts just make all of that easier. The government doesn't have to go through all this hassle. They know who you are. And while it's nice to think that these laws against, hate speech or bullying or whatever would be used to protect women like us, they're not. They're being used under the Trump administration to protect ICE agents.
So are we supposed to start the podcast?